Before I begin, I just want to say this is how I store my mask, and yeah, I am currently sitting on my bed and it just watches over me at night and it's really creepy. Hey guys, Otrera Cosplay here. Welcome back to another YouTube video of another cosplay breakdown. This time it will be my Cheshire cosplay. Also, going for some Jade vibes today, doing a little ponytail. Puffy hair as well, but hey, all fits with the costume. So this is one of my favourite cosplays that I have made. I just love Cheshire. For those who don't know, Cheshire is from the show Young Justice from DC. She's also in the comics. I haven't read too many comics though, but she's also in apparently the new season of Young Justice, which is amazing. However, I am in Australia and we don't have HBO in Australia, which is really annoying, but no spoilers please. Before I begin, I just want to say that this costume was made during lockdown. I live in Victoria, so we had a lot of lockdowns across the last couple of years. I made this in 2020. This was part of Cheshire Cosplay and Alana Owlet's Scrap Epic Challenge, so sort of like you just make a costume with what you have at home, and this is what I did. It turned out really well, much better than I thought it would, but yeah, I'll show you now. Would also like to say that I do have a tutorial for the mask and the sais. They're both up onto my YouTube channel now. If you want a pattern for the mask, you can easily click the link and it takes you to my Etsy page and it shows you, well, basically how to make the mask. So you have a YouTube video and a pattern to follow along if you want to make it yourself. First up is the pattern I used. There are a lot of kimono style patterns out there. I just used this one, which is Simplicity 8318. Has a bunch of different varieties, and I just went by style B, which is this one here. I just altered it to suit my needs, changed the sleeves, and yeah, that's literally all I did. Also, apologies for my shirt. It is Harry Potter. I don't own any DC merch, and most definitely not any Young Justice. They're hard to find. I am on the lookout though, so if you know a place, let me know. So here is a kimono. Yeah, that's all I'm showing you today. Here it is. So it looks a bit like, just like a kimono. Obviously, it's sort of like a wraparound one. Yep. There's one sleeve, there's the other. All I did to alter it was I ended it about halfway up my thighs. I also altered the sleeves so that the one sleeve that is intact actually has this cutout bit at the top. So I just made a giant rectangle, cut it out, stitched over the edges, and that's how I made one sleeve. The other sleeve, yeah, I sort of made a little bit and then I trimmed it, so like this. So I frayed it and it has this little, I don't know, frayed look to it. All you have to do is just peel it and pull it and boom. Gives you that worn look, which is sort of what she's going for, I guess. So here's me just roughly putting it on. Here is the cutout section at the top. The arm is meant to be baggy, don't worry. There's the cutout rectangle. So this is the belt. I chose a very contrasting light green to my dark green. And these are just poplin because I did not want to buy cotton. I recommend using cotton. It's probably much better and probably breathes a lot more when you wear it. So use cotton, not poplin. Poplin is just cheap for knock-up. I originally was just going to use this as a knock-up, but it was only stuff I sort of had at home, so I just used it. Here is the belt. It's just got interfacing in the middle. It's just got the ends. It's almost exactly like the pattern tells you to do, so I just used the pattern. Super easy, wraps around. Yeah, I love the colour. Like I said, highly recommend using just regular cotton. These are the only stuff I really had at home and I was in lockdown. So yeah, I just used poplin. It does not breathe like much at all and you sweat a lot in it, so just use cotton. Shirt wise, she has sort of like a tall neck shirt, like sort of like a skivvy, I guess you could call it. That's what we call them here. So I found this, I actually had one in my wardrobe, which is what I used for when I did my very first cosplay, which was my Mandalorian. It's the sort of the thing I used underneath my armour. It's just a long sleeve black shirt that I found and it had like a little neck thing, so that's been now confiscated from that cosplay, which I will probably never wear again, and turned into this one. All I did was cut holes in the arms, and I filled them with sort of like a ribbon. So to prevent the fraying, I just folded over a piece of ribbon. I hand stitched these. I highly recommend stitching them on with a sewing machine. It would be so much easier. The sleeves also have these little arrow bits like this, which, I don't know, they also hand stitch. Sew them on with the hand, they would look much better, as does the front. So have this bit that runs along the front. And I enjoy this. It looks nice because when the kimono comes like this, you can still see the silver bit in the neckline, and obviously with the sleeves, one sleeve is non-existent, so you can see an entire arm worth here. Up next is my over the knee sort of leg things, I guess. I don't know what you would call them. Some could call them socks. I have no idea. But anyway, here they are. And they're made out of leggings. These were the only things I had at home. Just cut them up to the right length. Most of this, like, I guess maybe 50% of this costume is actually made from leggings. They just hook over your knee and they're meant to stay up, apparently. Yeah, I learnt the hard way that they do not stay up. Originally, I just used a big band of elastic. I sort of sewed it to that to keep sort of like gaiters, I guess, above my knee. It's not comfortable for long distances and periods, especially when you walk, because it slips all the way down and doesn't do anything. So instead, I went with this idea. These are just a regular pair of tights, and I sewed them to these pair of tights. They do stay up because I'm wearing tights underneath, and the tights are attached to my whole leg. When you do this, my only thing is that you, when you walk, your pants or things, they do tend to slip a little bit because of your movement, and it's different from when you stand still. So when I sewed this, I was actually on the way to a con. It was last minute preparation. I was in the car and I was just sewing it to my leg. I had the tights on already. Yeah, as soon as I started walking around, because I was sitting down when I sewed it, and my legs were sort of stretched and it sort of wasn't, I guess, pulled down by the weight of gravity. Yeah, when I walked around, they did slip a little, and instead of being that much over the knee, more like that much over the knee, which doesn't make a big difference, but it annoyed me. So don't do that. Make sure you stand around, walk about a little bit before you sew them, to make sure that the tights have sort of pulled down a little bit as gravity does to them before you sew it onto it. Next up in the department of the legs are these. So she has these things over her boots, sort of like a grey thing. She's also got these bits on her knees, and depending what source I guess you're looking at, sometimes she has things on her upper thigh. So if you want to do full leggings, like the entire way, and do the upper thigh ones, you're more than welcome to. It depends on how you interpret the cosplay. So I just wanted knee highs, and yeah, so these are for my knees. My knee sticks out of this bit here, and this bit sticks underneath the back of my knee. And I sewed these, I didn't have to really sew them onto my knee highs or my tights because they were sort of tight enough to stay themselves. All I did was wrap my knee in glad wrap. I covered it in duct tape, put Sharpie all over it, cut it out, and that was my pattern, and then I just traced it onto fabric and boom. Super easy. I did the same things for my legs. I originally had the idea of making my own shoes. You'll never guess what my original shoe design was made out of. That's right, leggings, because I had them at home. They worked really well. They're sort of squashed because I've been storing them, so that's why they're so flat. Yeah, these would just tuck underneath my knee highs, so you couldn't see them. And they'd be covered by this as well. Yeah, these were super uncomfortable to walk in. I just made them for photos. These were the only things I had at home when I made this costume, so these are the things I used. When it had its first con debut, which was last year, like a year and a half after I made it, I just used regular boots, and all I did was put these onto here, and boom. If you're just desperate, because when you walk they do slide around a little bit because your ankle moves, you can just pin them to like your laces or something. Next up is the gloves. 10 points if you can guess what these are made out of. That's right, small leggings. Yeah, all I got is a pair of leggings, traced my hand onto a piece of paper, cut it out, put it on the leggings, cut that out, and then, you know, sew two sides together, and boom. This is a really easy way to make sort of gloves. I use this for every glove I make basically, because it's stretchy. You know it stretches. It's not like a tight stretch, which I know a lot of stretch materials are, and if you make gloves out of them, they do sort of restrict your movement and they can get really tight after a while of wearing them. But these ones worked really well. I made them sort of up to here because you just hide them under your black shirt anyway and you couldn't really tell. Around the gloves I had cotton, or poplin technically, it's same stuff as my kimono, but yeah, I just made a strap of this, ironed it over, so there's the seams in the back, and I just sort of went crazy wrapping it around my hand and sort of tying it sort of midway up my arm. The one arm that does have the sleeve, you can't really see it except for the hand. The other arm though, it's quite visible and it looks really nice against the black and the silver in some areas. Up next is the weapons. You'll never guess what they're made of. That's right, it's not leggings. No. Anyway, I have a tutorial for the sais. I have two of them because one can never have too many. I didn't want to make a sword. Too much effort. I was at home and I didn't have enough foam. These are the only things I really had. So this is how I made it. I've also got a mask, which you can find tutorials and pattern for the mask up here. I won't go through in detail how I made these because I've already got a YouTube video for them. They were great, except for at con, the first con I took it to, the guy putting on the little weapon tags, he put them on too tight, and now I have this permanent I've sort of filled it in a little bit with paint. It's gonna focus. Can't quite tell, but there's like an indentation around them. I'll attach a photo here. Yeah, and there was these giant dimps in them from that, so that was incredibly annoying. I've managed to fix it a little bit, but not much you can do because I took off the tag that the guy put on within minutes because I noticed it and it was like really annoying. It's one of my pet peeves as a cosplayer is other people ruining your props. I put a new tag on and it went like this, which is why in half my photos were from this con, which was Oz Comic Con of 2021, Melbourne. They have this giant red tag that goes like that. Really annoying for photos, but hey, at least my prop isn't wrecked anymore. To store my my sais around the con, she has these sort of like sheaths on each side. So all I did was make them out of some fabric. You'll never guess what it is. It's not leggings, no, it's just a regular cotton that I had at home. So it's like this, and so there's two parts to it. I just made a rough quiver design. Quiver. This is not a quiver, this is a sheath. I just made a rough sheath design. So there's the end bit is separate like this, and there's sort of like a loop around the top half like this. And I sewed it to like a giant strip of fabric, which I used as my belt, and I hooked it together with these guys, like that. Super easy. Things I had at home, you can make it better. So this is what it looks like when it's in the quiver. The end is much longer than it needs to be because I didn't want the point rubbing against the very tip and bending, which is what it has done anyway. But hey, only because I've been whacking people with it. But yep, sort of sits like this. You can see the entire midsection and it's tucked away. And this sort of hangs like that on the side. On your side like this. Actually more like this, depending on how you belt it. And it is really annoying when you walk because it just does that. The mask. You'll never guess what this is made out of. Well, it's not leggings. I don't know why you're thinking that. Anyway, I have a whole tutorial for this. I have a pattern for this. Go find it. It's somewhere linked in this video in the description as well. And you can find it on my YouTube channel. But this is just simply EVA foam. I have gotten a lot of questions about this, the lenses that I used. In the show herself, she doesn't have sort of lenses. You can just see her eyes and things, and you can honestly go that way if you want screen accuracy. Anyway, I chose lenses to put in my mask because in a couple shots in a couple episodes, it switches to her perspective, I guess, and you can sort of see her tracking people. So maybe she has clear lenses that she can just see herself, but I don't know. I chose black lenses because honestly I did not want to walk around a con having my eyeballs like this when my entire face is sweaty from wearing it. But so I use these, and it turned out really nice. I love it. It's, I don't know, it has that sort of villainish look to it. They're just sunglasses lenses which I've just popped out, sanded back, popped into these. Yeah, they're great until you drop this, which I haven't glued them in, so when I drop this they will fall out, but easy to sort of pop them back in. I do use elastic on the back. The original elastic I use, which I don't even know how thick it was, but it was pretty thick. Sort of this thickness here was way too big, and when I wore it with my wig, the wig sort of just bunched up like that at the back and it didn't look all that nice. So I changed it to a much thinner design and it works much better. It doesn't give you as much of a headache, it doesn't pull the wig back or anything. It was super easy. The one con I took her to, I actually saw another Cheshire, which is like insane, and this was on the Sunday, and on the Saturday when I wasn't in this costume I saw another Cheshire cosplay. So it was crazy. One con and I saw two different Cheshires. I've never seen another Cheshire cosplay in real life, so it was insane to see and meet. They looked amazing. I will link the person who I actually met and the photo here, so you can go follow them if you want. For the character's hair or wig, I don't know how you would call it, because when you cosplay it's a wig. It's really puffy, like this, like sort of like a cat. Like a cat, and you got the mask like this, and you can see it on the edges. I didn't sort of go for that sort of look because I knew that wig styling, not my forte. I didn't want to ruin my whole cosplay with a bad wig, and I didn't really have access to much in lockdown, so I just ordered this online and it came as it is, and all I did was tease it a little bit, and this is it. It looks really messy because I've just taken it out of storage, but yeah. So it's a long, not sort of long, but it's a black wig. It's frizzy, it's got good weight to it and everything. And while, if I put it on like this, ta-da, while it doesn't have that puffiness to it like her hair actually does, because my hair is so long that when I actually put it in a wig cap, it bunches up, so, like quite a lot, so that when I actually put the wig on, the wig was sort of like puffed up like this, I guess with the weight of my hair underneath it, or the bulk of my hair underneath it, and it gave it that puffiness anyway. So much simpler way, if you don't want to tease a wig or anything to make it look like that, you could just change how you put your hair in underneath the wig. The wig did come with bangs. Her character, I guess, has bangs depending on how you look at it. It's not quite really short though, like this one, so all I did was just sweep them aside. I learnt my mistake from making Tariel, and I did not want to fall back into that hole, so I just did this, and it worked. You can see in my photos, I don't have a lot of photos where I'm actually wearing just a wig, but yeah. I would like to say that when I walked around in a con in Cheshire last year, I actually wore a mask underneath. A lot of people didn't wear masks, but hey, we're in the middle of COVID, so yeah, wear a mask. And it was hilarious because when I wear this, you cannot understand me all that well. Like, you couldn't understand me all that well when I wore it. And when I had a mask on as well, you could not hear me at all. It was just muffledness. And it was really annoying trying to get other people's attention and try to talk to cosplayers, and I'd just have to take off this mask so I'd have my mask on underneath. But I didn't have a Cheshire style mask. I didn't have time to sort of make the teeth and everything. So I wore a Baby Yoda mask, and yep, Star Wars mask, that went well, yep. Badass villain wearing a cute little mask underneath, which you didn't really see because when I had this on, you couldn't see really the edges or the front. So it was super easy. Finally, I just want to say I'm wearing tiny little arrow earrings today. I thought they would be really appropriate with the character. I wore these to the con as well. They're really cute. Gave it that little Young Justice vibe as well. But no one noticed though, because I had a wig on and I had a mask on for like the entire time. So, oh well, I wore them. Thank you for watching this video today, sticking around to the end. I really appreciate it. Go off, make your own costumes, go make Cheshire, go watch some Young Justice, do what you do. Thank you for your support. Happy crafting, enjoy your cosplay life.